So hello guys, welcome to stage 43 of Build the Spitfire Mk1a. I have two bits of news to tell you this week. Firstly, I've got a cough, but that's not the first bit of news. The first bit of news is that I am now caught up with my issues, so I will now be releasing one issue a week, and that issue will come out on the Thursday as it always has done. But it will now be coming out the day after the release from the newsagents. So I'm very excited about that. I am fully caught up. I'm very happy. The second bit of news is I've done a little bit of an experiment this week. I've reintroduced the actual pictures of the instructions. I think it does enhance the video. But I had a little bit of trouble when I did it before with the video editing. I used to have to record everything and then find where to place all the instructions, and it was very tricky. And I literally last night just came up with the idea, why don't I film the actual video in chunks? And what I'll do is I'll record stage 1, then hit the stop record button, then start recording, do stage 2, hit the stop record button, stage 3, stage 4. Then that way the instructions can just be placed in at the beginning. I haven't got to spend half an hour finding where they go. So I'd like your feedback, guys. I have now put the instructions in, and I'll just pop them. They'll go up there, and we'll actually stop and we'll read the instructions and we'll discover together. We'll see how to put it together. We'll come up with any new ideas that I may have, and hopefully it'll be a much more pleasurable, not more pleasurable because I don't think it was unpleasurable, but hopefully the quality of the video will improve. Anyway, you know me, I waffle on. Let's see how I got on.
For those who fought in the Battle of Britain, it was a battle for survival. For the free world, it was a breathless moment in history. For failure would have plunged mankind into a new dark age. Never have so many owed so much to so few.
So this is issue 43, the landing light for the left wing, and as always, let's start with a parts check, and we start off with a sprue, so we will need to carefully cut these pieces off. And we have these are all left landing light components, that's all they've called them, and we have part A, part B, part C, so I will refer to them as A, B and C. They're the only parts that are called A, B and C. Then part number 2, and this is a bit fiddly. It's made of plastic, it's not rubber. This is the left landing light, very nice. And then we have part C, which is, this is very fiddly. I'm a bit worried about this piece. This is the optical fiber wingtip light. Now on one side of the wing we have a red light, and on the other side will be green, which I will explain about that one later on, but that's a normal aircraft convention, red on one side, and I can't remember which is, well, red is left obviously. So piece number 4 is the LED and cable, and as you can see there's an LED on there, and there's a cable on the other end. And what I'll do is, I think we are going to need this week. So I'll just take the little cable clip, and I would pop this into a spare parts tray because these are quite handy little ties sometimes. Not necessarily on this project, but you might use them on others, so I'll keep that safe. And then part number 5 is the cable label, and I don't know why, but the words cable label just makes me giggle. And then we're also going to need some glue, and if we use glue we're going to need a cocktail stick. I'm going to keep the container as a glue pot, and then we will also, because we've got to cut pieces off the sprue, we're also going to need some good side cutters, and you may possibly need some kind of file, and I've actually spared no expense, and I've got these purple emery boards. So let's have a look at stage 1, and we need to take the LED and cable 4 which is this one, and the cable label 4 and remove the label from its backing and wrap it around the cable close to the connector. So we take the connector end, which is this one here, and then we take this label, and I don't think it needs to be super neat, but it's obviously, when we come to plug all of these in, it's just so that we can identify which is which. And I've actually had better luck when I just move the cable up a little bit. When you're going to hold that and put that into the circuit board, you don't want your fingers getting in the way too much, so I'll just pop that on like that. So step 2 is to fit the LED on the end of the cable 43.4 into the landing light 43.2 as shown below. This is not fixed in place at this stage. So this is 43.2, and all we're going to do is we're going to take the other end of the cable that we've just been playing with, and we're just going to pop that into the end there like so, and that's a really loose fit. So that's at this current stage, be very careful, because look, as you see, it will fall off. However, we don't need to worry, because we'll sort that out in the next step. So step 3 is to take the landing light housing part B from frame 43.1, fit the rectangular flange on the light into the recess in part B as shown. The cable fits into a slot in the housing. So this is our part 41.3, and this is part number B, and all we need to do is find a nice place to cut this. And I think these are internal workings, so if you didn't get it super neat, I've got that fairly neat, but I don't think it's actually going to matter. Obviously I know a couple of people who will insist on that being neat, so the benefit of those, you know who you are. Let's just neaten mine up, but I think that's an optional stage. So what we're going to do is we have this little cutout at the back, and the excuse me, the cable is going to go through the back, and you can see that it naturally sits at an angle, and it's going to go, so you're pulling the LED back a little bit while pushing. There we go. So sorry, I've just noticed something. So this actual light has a little notch. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little notch on the end, and on the housing there's a little cutout. So what you want to do is, while you're feeding this wire in through that gap, you're also making sure that that notch fits in to there, and it's just ever so slightly fiddly, but as you see there, look, you'll see when it's fitting through, and that's in nice. I'm happy with that now. Yeah, that's a lot more comfortable fit. The only thing is I'm finding is when you let go of it, it will try to pop out. So on to step 4, take the upper part of the landing light housing C from frame 43.1 and fit it over the landing light. 2 small pegs on part C fit into the holes in part B. When you are happy with the fit, glue in place. The LED on the cable 44.4 is now held in place in the landing light 43.2. Make sure you do not get any glue on the LED or the landing light. So this is the sprue again, 43.1, and we're going to cut this sprue off the piece C, and there we go. I've cut that quite neat, and let's do a test fit. So we can see we've got 2 holes there, 1 and 2, and we've got 2 pegs on there, and that's just going to go into there like so. This is just a test fit, and that's a fairly good fit, but I would feel a little bit more comfortable gluing it. So let's place this down as carefully as we can, And I'm just going to get my glue, and we'll just pop a tiny bit into our tray. We don't need a lot. It's literally going to be a couple of spots, probably 4 spots I think I'm going to put on. So one there, one on the around the peg, sorry, around the peg holes. Let's pop one in the peg hole, and then just a tiny couple of drops just at the back. And then we've already done test fit, so we already know the orientation. We know this is going to fit fine, and that's gone in there. Absolutely perfect, and that is strong as anything, and there's no movement in there or anything. Lovely. So on to step 5, we need to fit the landing light housing B/C, which is this piece, onto the landing light flap A from frame 43-1. Pegs on part A fit into the holes in part B as indicated. When you are happy with the fit, glue in place. So this is the piece that we mean. This is the landing light flap. I find it interesting that they've, in the parts check, they just refer to them as landing light components, but now as we get into the instructions they give them a little bit more description. So we've got to be a bit careful with how we cut this. So let's cut the obvious. Well, that's actually not joined, so that's fine, and I can see there's a little bar going across there, so we'll just cut across there. And you can often tell where to cut, because when you look at the actual sprue, where it joins the part, it actually goes down a little bit. So if you were to get a blade of some description and just rub that, it will naturally fall into there. So you see I can rub the knife, but as I go right close to the part, it kind of falls there. So that indicates to us where to cut. So yeah, if you're not 100% sure where to cut, just do the little knife trick. This isn't a conclusive trick, but it works more times than it doesn't. And there we go. And that is our landing light flap. Now I am going to give this a little file. The reason I'm going to give this a file is, you see this piece here, it's a round piece. So I'm going to assume that that's going to have some kind of movement, so that will need to be circular. So just where the sprue was attached, I'm going to give that a very gentle rub just to smooth it off a bit. And I'm not going to go into anything else like oils and waxes, but if you were to find that this is a pivot point and it's a little bit stiff, you could always put some more like a solid wax, not an oil, because an oil would be too runny. Right, so I can see on the bottom of this light we've got 2 holes there, and that's obviously some kind of locating hole, and we've got 2 little pegs there, so it looks obvious to me that that's going to go into there. And let's do our test fit, and that is beautiful. That is almost as though it's made to go, look. So then we need to just think about where to put some glue, and that's quite a tight fit. So I'm going to apply some glue just along those lines there. I think that's points of contact. So hopefully my glue hasn't dried up. So a little bit over there, but hopefully you can see this okay. And can you see that I'm just putting just a tiny amount on, absolutely tiny amount, literally just touching the surface with it. And the reason for that is it will dry quickly. There we go. We'll give that a bit of a press, and then we'll just test the fit. Perfect. That stuck down fast. Really happy with that. So right, and that is step 5 complete. Okay, so step 6, we only have one piece left, and that's to take the wingtip light 43.3 excuse me, and fit it into the recess near the end of the wingtip 31.1. 2 pegs on the wing tip fit into notches circled on the light as indicated by the arrows. This is a push fit connection. Do not use any glue. You may want to use a little masking tape to hold the wingtip light in place until the wing is complete. So the piece in question is this one, 43.3, which I've just dropped. Now I can see from the shape of this that there's an orientation. Can you see that one side is higher than the other? So what we will do is we will do a test fit, and straight away I can see that the notch is a little bit down, so I think this is going to be the correct way, and that's just going to fit into there. And let's just, for fun, let's fit it the opposite way. Yeah, that doesn't want to go. So you see you've got this notch on the side there, and can you see that it doesn't go all the way down? So if you look at it from the top, it looks like there's no notches, and from the bottom you can see that there's notches. Those notches want to go downwards, and they want to just connect there where there's 2 notches, and that just fits into place there. Now I am uncomfortable not gluing that, but it does clearly say do not glue, so I'm not going to glue mine. But what I will do, I will heed the advice of the magazine. It says you may want to use a little masking tape to hold the wingtip in place until the wing is complete. So I've got my masking tape. You know guys, I love my masking tape. So I'm just going to pop that over there like so. Now what I've done is I've not done the masking tape all the way to the end. I will confess I have already started to prep up on future issues, but I think it's obvious that something's going to go there. So by placing that there, we can still work around it without having to move that masking tape. So that's that issue complete. So I'm going to complete the build by doing a little bit of testing and a little bit of review. As you know, we've just made this light, and I like to test my electronics as early as I possibly can. So I've got my testing box. Let's just move my light up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the plug, I'm going to plug it into there, and a wonderful piece of advice I got given is to not place it all the way in. As you see there, look, I can pull that out quite easily. So let's turn the lights out and have a look, shall we? So, oops, it's fallen out. So you need to still put it in enough, obviously, to connect. But so there we go, that's in there. Just a little bit. Let's turn the light out, and oh, look at that, that's perfect. That's really good. So yeah, so that's this week's build complete, guys. I think I did actually push that connector on. No, that was fine. So what we have achieved this week is we have a little red light on the end of the wingtip. On the other side is going to be a green one, but that's a future issue. And this is a landing light, which I believe is going to go into there somehow. Not really sure at this particular stage. So yeah, more electrical components done for the Spitfire. Really coming along, guys, and who would have thought we'd have done so much work on the wings. Absolutely amazing. So I hope I will catch you in the next issue, which will be issue 44, which is the landing gear accessories, LED cable, more LED cables, cable label, and some screws. So I'll catch you then, guys. Bye bye.